So a common definition of gamification is the application of gaming design and gaming principles to non-gaming contexts. You can use gamification for recruiting. Google has used gamification in that sense. In the IIW, though, we look at gamification in the realm of learning and really see it as using games to help promote learning in your students. So in the Innovative Instruction Workshop program, we see gamification as the creation and use of games to help students learn. Why do we use games? It turns out games are really great for learning. There's a ton of science behind it. They really hit the affective domain. They hit you in the emotions. They're fun, they're memorable. So what are some examples of gamification? Well, in the military world, wargaming is what immediately comes to mind. You can use war games to teach concepts of maneuver warfare, tactics, logistics, critical thinking, clear and concise communication, planning, the list goes on. I mean, it's really almost endless. And you can use war games in several formats. They can be digital, they can be analog, you can combine those. So that's a pretty good example of wargaming in the context of the military. So in the IIW, we've exposed hundreds of students across dozens of MOSs to war games, different types of war games, your traditional tabletop war game, print and play war games, digital war games. In the realm of tabletop war games, we've used a title called Pub Battles, Brandy Wine 1777, and we've had several instructors actually go back and purchase this game themselves and use it with their students. Wargaming is just one type of gamification. There are other types. You can really make a game out of any subject, any topic. In the IIW, we've had graduates come up with some really phenomenal game ideas. Some of these ideas use pre-existing game frameworks and concepts. Other games are totally original, but all of them display a lot of creativity and imagination. So here's some examples of student ideas of gamification. The first is drill tag. So as the name implies, it uses the old schoolyard game of tag, and you take your students, you split them in two, and one side is it, and they have to essentially collide into the other group, and this is all done using drill. And you have to use proper commands, proper execution. If you fail in either of those areas, there's a penalty of 10 seconds to mark time, allowing the other group to catch up to you. Each time one group tags the other, it's a point for that group. So at the end of the game, you tally up the points, and whoever has the most wins. So another example is core knowledge Jenga. And the idea behind this is you take the classic game of Jenga, right? You build a tower with these blocks, and you split your class into two groups. Each block in the tower has a number written on it, and that number corresponds to a question on a list that the instructor has. So you have a student come up, they try to remove a block. If they do so successfully, they read the number off that block. The instructor asks a question of them. If they get the question right, the block is then set aside, and then the next side goes. And you keep going until the tower falls. And if you've ever played Jenga, the tower is going to fall. It's inevitable. When the tower falls, the instructor takes all of those blocks, tallies them up, and whoever has the most points at the end of that game wins. You can do gamification on communications, you can do it on networking, you can do it on drill. So really the only thing that's limiting you is your imagination. And we encourage all facilitators, all curriculum developers across the Marine Corps to leverage games, to leverage gamification as a tool that you can use in your classrooms to promote student learning.